Okay, I just want to see if I can show you an easier way to do this. So turn this on here. We'll go to rectangle and I'll just create a plate again. We'll create a hole. And I'm going to use that fancy trick I showed you with the tritangent, where I grab 3 lines and it creates a circle that's tritangent to all 3. And I'm going to double click the quick trim. Remember last time when I quick trimmed that arc, it got interfered. I had to keep quick trimming all those other edges. So not having that slot in there keeps it cleaner. And then I'm just going to turn off the quick trim and erase this line. So with that deleted, I'm not going to put in my sketch yet. I'm going to go right to auto constrain and I'm going to constrain this. One thing about auto constraints, it doesn't seem to work well with slots at all. So you know what? I don't even put them in there. I put in my constraints first. And again, before you constrain it, you should analyze it, make sure everything's closed. Then you know it's safe to do the auto constrain. So turn this off and come back to the auto constrain. Highlight this profile. Reference this line here and this line here. Stack dimension it, say OK. And then I'm going to put in my anchors. Using my control button to use the dialog box. Activate the fix and turn the rest off. I go check it out and it's fully constrained. Okay, so it's all constrained. I'll close that off and now I'll come back and put my slot in. I'll put my slot in something like this. Now you might think, okay, Dave said to get rid of that, so you delete that and then you do this, highlight this whole thing and you do the auto constrain business. Whoops, auto constrain. Reference these lines. Stack dimension it. But it'll do something like this. Okay, I don't want this result. One thing is it didn't dimension the length of the slot and it tied those in. So here's what you do. Whenever you get a slot in there, delete out that dimension and just highlight the slot only. Go right to auto constrain and select OK. And that's it, I'm done. It's fully constrained, and what it's doing here, it's locking this slot to be coincident or concentric up here. So I have the length of the slot controlled. I have this radius controlling the size of the slot. Okay, so that all is perfect. All right, now the problem is if I didn't want it controlled to the length of this, to this concentricity, you're stuck with the way it is. What I could do is highlight this whole thing and delete it. I got that one dimension in there. Let me undo the slot I created. So I'm going to just do an elongated hole. Don't put it at this point if you don't want it concentric. Just come over here, or don't even go to there. Go something less, and then make it bigger later. Remember to delete this out. Then you highlight this whole profile and you go to auto constrain. And then all I need to do is create a constraint from this center line to this datum, so it knows where to locate it up and down. Okay, even though these are the same, we want to control the slot and the holes differently so that they can be different if I need them to be. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to hit equals and then try and grab this one over here, and it never works. You got to double click on it. I'm going to hit equals up here in the pop-up window and then just pick this dimension here and it goes gray. So if I change this dimension to 0.75, both of them move. All right, the reason why the arcs are still black is because I haven't located it side to side yet. So this dimension here is one and the same as this one over here, right? So those two, literally, they're the same dimension, but I still need to dimension from this datum to this first point. And that's what you would need in the shop too. So that point to this datum edge, I would need to control that. Now it might look better just to put it up here, so I'm showing stacked dimensions. And that's how that part would be done. And another technique maybe would be to dimension from this center point, which is really tough for me to get those, and this center point over here. My computer has such a hard time with that. Okay, and I'll make this a reference call out. Okay, depending on where you work, they may want to see a dimension from the center to the first slot. In reality, it doesn't matter because when I'm creating a locating pin, this is the critical hole right here. This needs to be a diameter call out. Trying to grab that horizontal line so I can move it back over here. Double click it and change it to a diameter. Okay, so that's what this part would look like here. That's fully constrained. It's an either or on this dimension and this dimension because it doesn't matter because I'm building in slot over here. So whatever plate I'm bolting this down to, the location on the plate, wherever that point is, that had to be critical. So when I go to put my pin in here, it's going to land perfectly on that, and it's going to control the distance from that pin to the end of this bull nose. And then you have this radius, it's just anywhere that hole would be, doesn't matter, just as long as I got a spot where I can bolt it down. Ideally it's going to be in the center, but you create a slot, it doesn't have to really be this big, actually. Probably be only something like an inch long. Okay, and maybe I move it out even further at 2.5 inches. Alright, so hopefully you learned some tricks here when it comes to using auto constraints. Don't put your slots in. Dimension everything else, and then at the end do your slots.